The space station Nexus 7 was always busy. Ships came and went every hour. Traders sold their goods. Travelers looked for transport. Soldiers drank at the bars. It was a place where 100 different species walked the same halls and breathed the same recycled air. Ho had visited many stations in his 5 years as a medical officer, but Nexus 7 was special. It sat at the crossroads of 3 major trade routes. If you wanted to see the galaxy's diversity, this was the place. He walked through the crowded market section, carrying a heavy bag of medical supplies on his shoulder. His ship, the GSS Horizon, needed to resupply before their next mission. Captain had given him a simple task: get the supplies and return quickly. But Ho was not the type to rush. He liked to observe. He liked to watch how different species interacted with each other. Some were friendly. Some kept to themselves. Some clearly hated each other but tolerated the peace because fighting was forbidden on the station. As he walked deeper into the station, he noticed something strange. The crowds became thinner. The lights became dimmer. The shops looked abandoned. It was like walking from day into night. He stopped and looked around. A merchant was closing his shop even though the station's day cycle had just begun. "Excuse me," Ho said. "Why is everyone leaving this area?" The looked at him with his 4 yellow eyes. His skin was pale blue and his long fingers trembled slightly. "You should leave too, human. This section is not safe." "Not safe? Is there a gas leak? Structural damage?" The merchant shook his head quickly. No, nothing like that. It is she is here." Ho had heard that word before. In the academy, they taught that they were an extinct species, or nearly extinct. He could not remember the details. "What is wrong with a being here?" he asked. The merchant's eyes went wide with fear. "Human, you do not understand. They are cursed. Death follows them, disease, destruction. Stay away from her, please." The merchant hurried away before Ho could ask more questions. Ho stood alone in the empty corridor. The silence was heavy. He should have turned back. He should have listened to the warning. Any reasonable person would have walked away. But Ho had never claimed to be reasonable. He walked forward, following the abandoned path. The lights flickered above him. The air felt colder here. He passed empty shops and locked doors. It was like the station had forgotten this place existed. Then he saw her. She sat alone in the corner of what looked like an old waiting area. Her back was against the wall. Her knees were pulled up to her chest. Even in the dim light, Ho could see why others were afraid. Her skin was covered in dark scales that seemed to absorb the light around her. Her hands ended in sharp claws. Her eyes glowed a deep red, like dying stars. She was tall, much taller than him, with a powerful body built for combat. She looked like something from a nightmare. But Ho also noticed something else. She was holding her side. Dark liquid, almost black, dripped between her fingers. She was injured. He took a step forward. The alien woman's head snapped up. Her red eyes locked onto him. Her lips pulled back, showing rows of sharp teeth. "Stay back," she growled. Her voice was deep and rough, like stones grinding together. "I do not need your pity, human." Ho stopped but did not retreat. "I am not offering pity. I am offering help. You are hurt." "I have been hurt before. I will heal." "That wound looks deep. If you do not treat it, you could get an infection. You could die." The alien woman laughed. It was a bitter, hollow sound. "Die? Do you think I fear death? Death would be a gift, a rest, an end to this existence." Ho felt something twist in his chest. He had heard pain before. He had treated soldiers who screamed from their wounds. He had held the hands of the dying. But the pain in this woman's voice was different. It was older, deeper. It was the pain of someone who had been alone for far too long. He set down his bag of supplies and took out his medical kit. Then he walked toward her slowly, like approaching a wounded animal. "Stay back," she snarled, her claws scraped against the floor. "Do you not know what I am? We are monsters, demons. Everyone fears us. Everyone runs from us." Ho knelt down a few feet away from her. He opened his medical kit and prepared a disinfectant and bandages. "I know what you are," he said calmly. "I do not care." The alien woman stared at him. Her red eyes searched his face, looking for lies, for tricks, for hidden fear. She found none. "Everyone is afraid of me," she whispered. "But why aren't you human?" Ho looked up at her. In that moment, he did not see a monster. He did not see a demon. He saw a person who had been alone and hated for so long that she had forgotten what kindness looked like. "You are hurt," he said simply. "That is all I need to know." For a long moment she did not move. Then slowly she lowered her arm and showed him the wound. It was deep, cutting across her ribs. Someone had attacked her with a blade. "Who did this to you?" Ho asked as he began to clean the wound. "Hunters," she said quietly. "There are people who pay good money for parts, our scales, our claws, our teeth. I have been running from them for years." Ho felt anger rise in his chest, but he kept his hand steady. "That is disgusting. That is reality. We are monsters to them. Killing us is not murder, it is pest control." He applied the disinfectant. She did not flinch, even though it must have burned. "What is your name?" he asked. She looked at him with surprise. No one had asked her name in a very long time. She said finally, "My name is—" "I am Ho, medical officer of the GSS Horizon." He began to wrap the bandage around her wound. "When was the last time you ate a proper meal?" She thought about it. "I do not remember." "When was the last time you slept in a real bed?" "I do not remember that either." Ho finished the bandage and sat back. He looked at her with determination in his eyes. "Come with me," he said. "My ship has food, beds, and proper medical equipment. I can treat your wound properly there." Shook her head. "Your crew will not accept me. No one accepts a. Let me worry about that." "Why are you doing this, human? What do you want from me?" Ho stood up and offered her his hand. "I want nothing. I am a doctor. Helping people is what I do, and you are a person who needs help." Stared at his hand. Such a small hand compared to hers. Such soft skin compared to her scales. This human was fragile, weak, and short-lived, and yet he stood before her without fear. She did not understand him, but for the first time in decades, she felt something she had forgotten. Hoping. Slowly, carefully, she took his hand and let him help her stand. "If your crew tries to kill me," she said, "I will not hold back." Ho smiled. "Fair enough, but I think you will be surprised. Humans are strange creatures. We have a habit of caring about things we probably should not." As they walked out of the abandoned section together, looked at the small human beside her. He was not strong. He was not fast. He could not fight like her people could. But he had done something no one else in the galaxy had done in 50 years. He had treated her like a person. And for that, she would follow him anywhere. The GSS Horizon was not a large ship. It carried a crew of 42 humans and had enough room for passengers and cargo. It was fast, well-armed, and built for exploration and diplomacy. Captain ran a tight ship, but he was also known for his fairness. When Ho walked through the airlock with beside him, the crew members who saw them stopped moving. Some reached for their weapons. Others simply stared with wide eyes. Felt their fear like heat from a fire. She was used to it. She expected it. Her claws twitched, ready to defend herself if needed. But Ho walked calmly, as if he was bringing home a friend for dinner. "It is fine," he said to the crew. "She is my patient. Please inform the captain that I need to speak with him." A young officer named stepped forward. She was the ship's, responsible for studying alien life forms. Her eyes were wide with curiosity, not fear. "Ho," she said slowly, "is that a—" "Yes, her name is. She is injured and needs proper treatment." Looked at with scientific wonder. "I thought they were extinct. The records said they were wiped out 200 years ago." "Not extinct," said quietly. just hunted, hidden, forgotten. Before anyone could respond, Captain arrived. He was a tall man with gray hair and calm eyes. He had seen many things in his 30 years of service. A standing on his ship was new, but he did not show surprise. "Ho," he said, "explain." Ho explained everything. The empty section of the station, the injured alien, the hunters who were after her. He spoke clearly and honestly, hiding nothing. When he finished, looked at for a long moment. She met his gaze without looking away. She was ready for rejection. She was ready for him to throw her off the ship. "You are welcome on my ship," said finally, "as long as you follow our rules and cause no harm to my crew." Blinked, she had not expected that. "You are not afraid of me." Smiled slightly. "I have faced pirates, wars, and things that would turn your scales white. Fear is a luxury I cannot afford. Besides, Ho trusts you. That is enough for me." He turned to the crew. "She is our guest. Treat her with respect. Anyone who causes trouble will answer to me. Understood?" The crew nodded, though some still looked nervous. Walked away, and Ho led to the medical bay. It was a clean, bright room with advanced equipment. Had never seen such technology before. Her people had been warriors, not scientists. Ho helped her onto the examination table and began to properly treat her wound. Joined them, eager to learn more. "May I scan you?" asked politely. "I have never studied biology before. Your species is barely mentioned in our databases." Looked at Ho, uncertain. "Is harmless," he said with a smile. "She just wants to learn. You can say no if you want." Considered it. No one had ever asked for her permission before. They either ran from her or attacked her. This polite request was strange. "You may scan me," she said finally. His face lit up with excitement. She began her scans, and soon her expression changed from curiosity to amazement. "This is incredible," she whispered. "Your bone density is 3 times that of humans. Your muscles are designed for explosive strength. Your scales can resist most energy weapons. And your immune system, it is extraordinary. You are naturally resistant to almost every known disease in the galaxy." "That is why they blamed us," said bitterly. Ho paused his work. "What do you mean?" Closed her eyes and took a deep breath. The memories were painful, but these humans deserved to know the truth. 300 years ago," she began, "a terrible plague spread across the galaxy. It killed millions. Entire planets died. Species went extinct. It was called the Burning Death because of the fever it caused." Nodded. "I have read about it. They said they created the plague as a weapon." "Lies," said sharply. "We did not create it. We were immune to it. Our bodies could not catch the disease, so we tried to help. We traveled to infected planets. We carried the sick to hospitals. We delivered medicine. We thought we were doing good." Her voice became heavy with pain. "But others saw us differently. They saw that we walked among the dying and never got sick. They decided that we must be the cause. They said we carried the plague in our blood. They called us death bringers, monsters, cursed." Ho set down his tools and listened carefully. "When the plague ended," continued, "the hatred did not end. Other species united against us. They called it justice. They called it protection, but it was just murder. They hunted us across the galaxy. They destroyed our planets. They killed our children. They burned our history." Tears, dark as oil, fell from her red eyes. "I was young when it happened. My mother hid me in a cave while they burned our city. I could hear her screaming. I could smell the fire. When I finally came out, everyone was gone. I have been running ever since." The medical bay was silent, had tears in her own eyes. Even the machines seemed to hold their breath. Ho reached out and gently took his clawed hand. She flinched at first, but did not pull away. "I am sorry," he said softly. "I am so sorry that happened to you." "Sorry does not bring them back," said. "No, it does not, but it is still important to say. What happened to your people was wrong. You were punished for trying to help. That is not justice. That is cruelty." looked at him with her glowing red eyes. In all her years of running, no one had ever said that to her. No one had ever acknowledged that her people had been innocent. "Why do you care, human?" she asked. "This happened centuries ago. Your species was not even part of the galactic community then. This is not your problem." Ho shrugged. "Injustice is everyone's problem. If good people ignore evil, then evil wins. My grandmother taught me that." Stepped forward. "I am going to research this. If they were innocent, there must be evidence somewhere. Records, data, something." "The truth was buried," said. "Those who blamed us made sure of it." "Then I will dig it up," said with determination. "I am a scientist. Finding hidden truths is what I do." Ho finished treating wound and applied a clean bandage. "There, you will heal completely in a few days. Now, when did you last eat?" "Thought about it. 2 days ago, maybe 3. "That is unacceptable. Come. The ship's kitchen is not fancy, but the food is good." He helped her off the table and led her through the ship. Crew members still stared, but no one ran. No one screamed. Some even nodded politely as she passed. In the kitchen, Ho prepared a simple meal. Protein, vegetables, and bread. Ate slowly at first, then faster as hunger took over. She had not eaten real food in so long. Usually she survived on scraps and emergency rations stolen from cargo ships. "This is good," she admitted between bites. Ho smiled. "I will tell the cook. He will be happy to hear that." As she ate, crew members came and went. Some glanced at her curiously. A few even sat at nearby tables and pretended not to watch, but there was no hatred in their eyes, only curiosity, only caution. It was so different from what she had experienced everywhere else. "Your people are strange," said. "I know," Ho agreed. "We are also stubborn, emotional, and often make bad decisions, but we try to do the right thing, most of the time." Finished her meal and looked at him seriously. "I do not understand you, Ho. I have met many species in my life. Most of them hated me on sight, some tried to kill me. Others sold me out to hunters for money. But you brought me to your ship, you fed me, you treated my wounds, you listened to my story. Is that so unusual?" "Yes, it is. Kindness is rare in this galaxy. Kindness to it is impossible, until now." Ho leaned back in his chair. "Maybe humans are just too stupid to know what we should be afraid of." Almost smiled, almost. Suddenly the ship's alarm began to sound. Red lights flashed. Captain's voice came over the speakers. "All crew to stations. We have received a distress signal. A colony ship called the Starlight Dawn is under attack by pirates. They have 2,000 civilians aboard, including children. We are the closest ship. We are going to help." Ho stood up immediately. "I need to get to the medical bay. There will be injuries." Stood with him. "I can fight." He looked at her. "You are still wounded." "I have fought with worse injuries. These pirates, do they kill children?" "If the ransom is not paid, yes." His red eyes burned brighter. Her claws extended fully. The gentle creature from a moment ago was gone. In her place stood a warrior. "Then I will help you," she said. "Show me where to go." Ho nodded. There was no time to argue. He led her toward the bridge, where the captain was preparing the rescue mission. For the first time in decades, had something to protect. And she would not fail. The colony ship Starlight Dawn drifted in space like a wounded animal. Smoke poured from holes in its hull. Emergency lights blinked red through the windows. Around it, 5 pirate ships circled like hungry predators. Captain studied the situation on the main screen. His face was calm, but his eyes showed concern. "The pirates," he said grimly. "They are among the worst in this sector. They do not negotiate. They take what they want and kill everyone who resists." Ho stood beside him, his medical kit ready. "How many hostages?" 2,000 civilians. Families traveling to a new colony world. 300 children under the age of 10. Felt something cold twist in her stomach. Children. Innocent children trapped with monsters who would hurt them for money. "We are outnumbered," said the tactical officer. "5 ships against 1. Our weapons cannot match their combined firepower." "Then we do not fight their ships," said. "We board the Starlight Dawn and rescue the hostages directly." "Sir, the pirates have at least 50 armed soldiers on that ship." "I know," turned to his crew. "I need volunteers for the rescue team. This will be dangerous. I will not order anyone to join." Immediately, hands went up across the bridge. Ho raised his hand, raised hers. Even the young officers who had looked afraid of earlier stepped forward. Nodded with pride. "Good. We will send 3 teams. Team 1 secures the bridge. Team 2 finds and protects the hostages. Team 3 cuts off pirate reinforcements." Stepped forward. "I will join Team 2, the hostages." The bridge went quiet. Some crew members exchanged nervous looks. A security officer named one spoke up. "Captain, with respect, can we trust her? We just met her today. For all we know, she could be working with the pirates." Claws twitched, but she controlled her anger. She had heard such accusations her whole life. Ho stepped forward. "She is not working with the pirates. She was almost killed by hunters on the station. She has no reason to betray us." "She is," one said. "Everyone knows they cannot be trusted." "Everyone knows lies," Ho replied firmly. "Lies spread by people who wanted to destroy her species. I have talked with her. I have treated her wounds. She is not a monster. She is someone who was never given a chance." The bridge fell silent. One looked uncomfortable but did not argue further. Captain made his decision. "We'll join Team 2. Ho will lead the team as medical officer. Any objections?" No one spoke. "Then prepare for boarding. We launch in 10 minutes." The GSS Horizon moved fast and quiet through space. It came from above, where the pirate ships were not looking. By the time the pirates noticed, the Horizon was already locked onto the Starlight Dawn's emergency airlock. 3 teams rushed through the airlock into the colony ship. The halls were dark and filled with smoke. Emergency alarms screamed endlessly. The smell of burned metal and fear hung in the air. Team 2 moved quickly through the corridors. Ho led the way with his scanner, tracking life signs. Walked beside him, her red eyes piercing through the darkness. Behind them came 6 human soldiers, armed and ready. "The hostages are being held in the main cargo bay," Ho said. 200 meters ahead. I am reading 15 pirate life signs near them." 15 against 8, said one of the soldiers nervously. 15 against 1, corrected. "You just need to protect the hostages when the fighting starts. Leave the pirates to me." They moved through the ship, staying quiet and hidden. Twice they passed pirate patrols. Each time dealt with them silently. Her claws moved so fast that the pirates fell before they could scream. The human soldiers watched with a mix of awe and fear. Finally, they reached the cargo bay. Through a small window, they could see the hostages. Hundreds of people sat on the floor, their hands bound. Children cried in their parents' arms. Elderly passengers looked exhausted and terrified. 15 pirates stood guard, armed with energy rifles. Their leader, a massive alien with metal teeth, walked among the hostages, kicking anyone who made too much noise. "Please," a young mother begged. "My daughter is sick, she needs medicine." The pirate leader laughed and pointed his rifle at her. "Sick? Then she is useless. Maybe I should end her suffering." The little girl, no more than 6 years old, screamed and hid behind her mother. Felt something break inside her. The memory of her own mother, screaming as their city burned, rushed back like a flood. The fear in that child's eyes was the same fear had felt centuries ago. "I am going in," she said quietly. Ho grabbed her arm. "Wait, we need a plan." "The plan is simple. I kill them, you save the hostages." Before anyone could stop her, ripped the cargo bay door off its frame and charged inside. The pirates turned in shock. They had never seen anything like her. a nightmare of scales and claws moving faster than their eyes could follow. "What the hell is that?" one pirate screamed. It was the last thing he ever said. Moved through them like wind through leaves. Her claws cut through armor like paper. Her strength threw grown men across the room. Energy rifles fired, but she was too fast. The bolts hit walls and cargo containers while she tore through the enemy. The pirate leader tried to use a hostage as a shield. He grabbed the sick little girl and pressed his rifle to her head. "Stop," he shouted. "Stop or I kill the child." Froze, the hostages screamed. The pirate smiled with his metal teeth. "That is right, monster. I heard about the... You are supposed to be extinct, but even monsters have weaknesses. Even you will not risk a child's life." Looked at the little girl. She was crying, her small body shaking with fear. Her mother was screaming, begging for mercy. "Let her go," said her voice deadly calm. "No, you will let me leave. You will let me take this ship, or I will paint the walls with her blood." For a moment no one moved. The pirate thought he had won. He thought the monster was afraid. He was wrong. His hand moved faster than light. Her claws cut through the rifle, destroying it. Her other hand grabbed the pirate's throat and lifted him off the ground. The little girl fell safely into her mother's arms. The pirate struggled, choking, his feet kicking helplessly in the air. "Please," he gasped, "mercy." Brought her face close to his. Her red eyes burned with centuries of pain and rage. "Did you show mercy to these children? Did you show mercy to their parents? Did you care about their tears, their fear, their suffering?" He could not answer. He could barely breathe. Wanted to kill him. Every part of her wanted to crush his throat and watch the life leave his eyes. He deserved it. They all deserved it. But then she felt a small hand touch her leg. She looked down. The little girl, the one she had just saved, was standing beside her. Her eyes were still wet with tears, but she was not afraid. She was looking up with something like wonder. "Thank you," the child said softly. "Thank you for saving me." The rage inside faded. She looked at the pirate, then at the child. "Your mother needs you," said gently. "Go to her." The girl nodded and ran back to her mother. Dropped the pirate leader to the ground. He gasped and coughed, clutching his throat. "Ho," she called. "I believe this one needs medical attention and then a prison cell." Ho and the soldiers rushed in. They freed the hostages, treated the wounded, and secured the unconscious pirates. The cargo bay filled with tears of relief and cries of joy as families realized they were safe. The young mother approached, holding her daughter tightly. She looked at the terrifying alien who had saved their lives. "I do not know what you are," the mother said, her voice trembling. "But you saved my baby. Thank you, thank you." Did not know how to respond. No one had ever thanked her before. No one had ever looked at her with gratitude instead of fear. "You are welcome," she managed to say. As the rescue teams finished their work, word spread throughout the ship. A monster had saved them. A demon from old stories had protected their children. The terrifying had shown more mercy than the pirates ever would. When returned to the GSS Horizon, the crew looked at her differently. The fear was still there, but it was mixed with something else now: respect, gratitude, even admiration. One, the security officer who had doubted her, approached her slowly. "I was wrong about you," he said quietly. "I judged you based on old stories and lies. I am sorry." Nodded, apology accepted. As she walked back to her quarters, she passed the medical bay where Ho was treating wounded hostages. He looked up and smiled at her. "You did good today," he said. "I almost killed that pirate," she admitted. "I wanted to." "But you did not. That is what matters." Thought about the little girl's hand on her leg, the simple words of thanks, the mother's tearful gratitude. For the first time in centuries, she had done something good, something kind, something that reminded her why her people had tried to help during the plague, even when the galaxy turned against them. Maybe there was still hope. Maybe she was not just a monster after all. Maybe, with humans like Ho beside her, she could become something more. News traveled fast in space. Within days, the story of the Starlight Dawn rescue spread across the sector. 2,000 civilians saved from the pirates, a terrifying creature fighting alongside humans, a thought to be extinct, emerging from the shadows. Some heard the story and felt hope, others heard it and felt fear, and some heard it and felt anger. The GSS Horizon docked at Station 9 for repairs and resupply. Captain gave the crew 2 days of rest. For most of them, it was a chance to relax, call their families, and enjoy real food. For it was the first time in decades that she could walk through a station without hiding. She walked beside Ho through the market district. People stared at her, but no one ran. Some even nodded respectfully, having heard the story of the rescue. A few children pointed at her with excitement rather than fear. "This is strange," said quietly. "What is strange?" Ho asked. "People looking at me without hatred. I do not know how to feel about it." Ho smiled. "You could try feeling good about it. You earned their respect." Respect fades, fear lasts longer. Before Ho could respond, a group of tall aliens blocked their path. They were the same species as the frightened merchant from Nexus 7. But these were not merchants. They wore diplomatic robes of deep purple, and their expressions were cold. "You are the humans harboring the lead said. His voice dripped with disgust. Ho straightened his shoulders. "We are crew members of the GSS Horizon, and yes, is traveling with us. That creature is not welcome in civilized space. You will hand her over to us immediately." His claws extended slightly, but she kept her voice calm. "I have committed no crime. You have no authority over me." "No authority," they laughed bitterly. "They are classified as dangerous organisms. You exist only because we have not finished hunting you. Your presence violates 3 treaties and 14 laws." "Laws written by people who murdered her entire species," Ho said sharply. "Laws based on lies and fear." The eyes narrowed. "Be careful, human. Your species is new to the galaxy. You do not want to make enemies of the Coalition." "We do not want to make enemies of anyone, but we also do not hand over innocent people to be killed." A crowd was gathering around them. Station security moved closer, unsure how to handle the situation. The tension was thick enough to cut with a knife. Then a new figure appeared. He was older than the other, with gray patterns on his blue skin and heavy golden chains around his neck. His presence commanded instant respect. "Ambassador," the lead said with a bow, "we were just explaining the situation to these humans." Ambassador studied with ancient eyes. He had lived for over 300 years. He remembered the plague. He remembered the war against the. He had personally signed the orders that condemned her species to death. "So," he said slowly, "one of them still lives." Met his gaze without flinching. "One of us, the last one, thanks to people like you. They were a threat to galactic peace. They tried to save lives during the plague. We were blamed because we did not die like everyone else." Waved his hand dismissively. "Old arguments. What matters is now. You have reappeared and joined with humans. This creates political problems." Captain arrived, pushing through the crowd. His face was serious but controlled. "Ambassador," he said formally, "I am captain of the GSS Horizon. Is there a problem?" "The problem is your ship harbors a. The Coalition demands you hand her over for trial and execution." "On what charges?" "Being is charge enough." Shook his head slowly. "I refuse." The crowd gasped. Even the other looked shocked. No one refused the ambassador. His expression hardened. "You refuse. Do you understand what you are saying? The Coalition represents 47 species. We control 30% of galactic trade. We could crush your little planet with economic sanctions alone." "Then do it," said calmly. but I will not hand over a member of my crew to be murdered." "Member of your crew," laughed. "You made a part of your crew." "She fought beside us. She saved children from pirates. She showed mercy when she had every right to kill. Yes, she is part of my crew." Felt something warm spread through her chest. She had never belonged anywhere. She had never had a captain willing to defend her. She had never been called part of anything. Stepped closer to, their faces nearly touching. "This will have consequences, Captain. Severe consequences." "I am sure it will. But humans did not travel across the stars to become cowards. We judge individuals by their actions, not by old stories and old hatreds. Has proven herself to be brave, capable, and honorable. That is enough for me." For a long moment, no one moved, then stepped back, his expression unreadable. "The Coalition will hear of this," he said coldly. "Prepare for what comes next." He turned and walked away, his followers close behind. The crowd slowly dispersed, whispering among themselves. Station security relaxed, though they looked confused about what had just happened. "Turn 2, Captain, I should leave. I do not want to bring danger to your ship." "Too late for that," said with a slight smile. "You already saved 2,000 people. You are famous now. Running will not help." "But the Coalition—" "The Coalition can complain all they want. Humans have faced bullies before. We do not back down easily." Ho put a hand on shoulder. "He is right. Running away is what everyone expects. Stay, prove them wrong." Looked at both of them. These strange, stubborn humans who refused to abandon her, who stood against the most powerful force in the sector for someone they barely knew. "Why?" she asked quietly. "Why risk everything for me?" Thought about it for a moment. "Because doing the right thing is never convenient. If we only helped people when it was safe, we would never help anyone." Back on the horizon was waiting with news. Her eyes were bright with excitement. "I found it," she said breathlessly. "I found evidence." "Evidence of what?" Ho asked. "The plague, the burning death. I dug through thousands of old records, encrypted files, even some data from extinct species, and I found the truth." She pulled up files on her screen. Documents, scientific reports, communication logs. They did not create the plague. They were not carriers. The plague was actually created by a species called the as a biological weapon. When things went wrong and the plague spread out of control, they blamed the because they were immune. They manufactured evidence, spread rumors, and convinced the galaxy to destroy an innocent species. Stared at the screen, her red eyes wide. They were our allies. They asked for our help during the outbreak." "They used you," said sadly. "They needed someone to blame, and your immunity made you perfect targets. By the time the truth could have come out, they themselves were destroyed by the plague they created. The evidence was buried and forgotten." "Studied the documents. Can you verify this? Can you prove it is authentic?" "I already have. 3 independent archival systems confirm the data. The timestamps are genuine. This is real, Captain. They were innocent all along." Sank into a chair. 300 years of running, 300 years of hatred, 300 years of being called a monster, and it was all based on a lie. "My people," she whispered. "They died for nothing. They were murdered because of a lie." Ho knelt beside her. "I am sorry, I am so sorry." She did not cry. She had no tears left, but her hands shook and her breath came in ragged gasps. "What do we do now?" she finally asked. Stood tall. "We share the truth. We broadcast these findings to every corner of the galaxy. We make sure everyone knows what really happened. The Coalition will try to stop us," warned. "This makes them look terrible. They helped destroy an innocent species based on lies. Then we better be fast." Before they could act, the ship's alarm began to sound. Red lights flashed across every screen. "Captain," the tactical officer shouted, "we have multiple contacts incoming. It is the pirates. They found us." Rushed to the bridge. On the main screen, a fleet of pirate ships approached, at least 12 vessels, heavily armed and hungry for revenge. "The pirate leader we captured," the officer explained. "He must have called for reinforcements before the rescue. They have been tracking us." "Can we outrun them?" "Negative, Captain. They have us surrounded." The communication screen flickered. A face appeared, twisted with rage. It was the brother of the pirate leader had defeated. "Human ship," the pirate snarled. "You took my brother. You humiliated the clan. Now you will pay. Surrender the demon and maybe we will let some of you live." Muted the communication and turned to his crew. They were scared but determined. They had faced danger before, but never odds this bad. Then stepped onto the bridge. Her wounds were healed. Her scales gleamed under the lights. Her red eyes burned with purpose. "Are you ready to fight?" Ho asked her. Looked at the pirate fleet on the screen. Then she looked at the humans around her, the first people to ever treat her like a person, the first people to ever call her family. She smiled. It was the first real smile anyone had seen from her. "I finally have something worth fighting for," she said. Captain nodded. "Then let us show them what happens when you threaten our family." The stars burned cold around the GSS horizon as 12 pirate ships closed in, their weapons charged with deadly light. Their hungry crews waited for blood. They expected an easy victory against one small human vessel. They had no idea what was coming. Captain stood at the center of the bridge, calm as a stone in a storm. Around him, his crew prepared for battle. They were scared. They were outnumbered, but not one of them thought about surrendering. "All hands to battle stations," ordered. "Engineering, I need everything you can give me. Weapons, target their lead ships. Communications, broadcast our position to anyone who might help." "Captain," the communications officer said nervously, "the only ships in range they will not help us. Not with on board." "Broadcast anyway. Let them see what is happening." Approached the captain. "Give me a fighter. I can draw some of them away from the main ship." "That is suicide. One fighter against 12 ships." "I have survived worse. And if I die, at least I die fighting for something, for someone." Looked at her for a long moment, then he nodded. "Fighter Bay 2, take the fastest ship we have." Turned to leave, but Ho caught her arm. "Come back," he said simply. "Whatever happens out there, come back." She placed her clawed hand over his. "I will try." Then she was gone, running toward the fighter bay. Moments later, a small fighter shot out from the horizon like a bullet. It was fast, nimble, and deadly. And inside felt something she had not felt in centuries: purpose. The pirates saw the fighter and laughed over their communications. "One little ship. They send one little ship against us, kill it, and then destroy the humans." 3 pirate vessels broke formation to chase her, exactly what she wanted. Flew like a demon through space. Her fighter danced between energy beams and missile fire. She twisted, turned, and somehow avoided every shot. The pirates grew frustrated, chasing her further and further from the main battle. Meanwhile, the horizon fought for its life. The ship's weapons fired constantly, scoring hits on the pirate vessels. The shields flickered under heavy assault. Small fires broke out in the lower decks. Crew members rushed to contain the damage while others kept fighting. "Shields at 40%, the tactical officer shouted. "Keep firing," commanded. On the bridge screen, worked frantically at her station. "Captain, I am broadcasting the evidence files now. Every ship in range will receive the truth about the plague." "Will they see it?" "Everyone will see it. I am sending it through every channel, every frequency. Even if they try to block it, some will get through." Across the sector, ships began receiving the transmission, the truth about the burning death, the evidence of innocence, the lies that had condemned an entire species. Some ignored it, some dismissed it as human propaganda, but many watched, many read. Many began to question everything they had been taught. On the flagship, Ambassador watched the transmission with growing horror. He had been young when the plague happened, but old enough to vote for the extermination of the, old enough to sign the orders, old enough to bear responsibility. "Sir," his aide said quietly, "the humans are dying out there. The pirates will destroy them." Watched the battle unfold. The human ship, outnumbered and still fighting. The flying alone against impossible odds, protecting the people who had shown her kindness. And then he saw something that changed everything. His fighter took a direct hit. Her engines failed. Her ship spiraled toward an asteroid field. She was going to crash. Without thinking, without hesitation, Ho's voice came over the communication channel. Eject now." "I cannot," she replied, her voice strained. "The ejection system is damaged." "Then hold on, I am coming to get you." A medical shuttle launched from the horizon. It was unarmed, unarmored, and completely vulnerable. Ho flew it directly into the asteroid field, chasing the falling fighter. Watched in disbelief. A human, a fragile little human, was risking his life to save the same species he had been taught to hate, the same species he had helped destroy. The shuttle caught up to the fighter just as it was about to crash. Ho matched speed, opened the docking clamp, and grabbed the damaged vessel. Sparks flew, metal screamed, but he held on. "I have you," Ho said over the radio. "I have you." Together, the shuttle and fighter limped back toward the horizon, but the pirates saw them. 3 ships moved to intercept. At their current speed, they would never make it. "No," whispered. He remembered his grandmother telling him stories about how they had tried to help during the plague, how they had carried the sick to hospitals, how they had never asked for anything in return. He had grown up believing they were monsters. He had helped murder them. But now, watching a human risk everything for one of them, he felt something crack inside his chest. "Sir," his aide asked. "Made a decision that would change galactic history. All ships," he commanded, "engage the pirates, protect the human vessel." "Sir, Ambassador, are you sure?" "Do it now." The fleet moved. 20 warships, the most advanced in the sector, turned their weapons on the pirates. The fleet was caught completely by surprise. Within minutes, half their ships were destroyed or disabled. The rest fled into deep space, their dreams of revenge turned to ash. Ho's shuttle reached the horizon safely. He carried to the medical bay, where she collapsed on the table, laughing weakly. "You are insane," she gasped. "You flew into an asteroid field in a medical shuttle. You crashed into an asteroid field in a fighter. We are both insane." "Fair point." The battle ended. The pirates were defeated. The horizon survived. And across the sector, ships that had received broadcasts began to talk. The truth about the spread like wildfire. Hours later, Ambassador requested permission to board the horizon. Captain granted it, though his crew watched with suspicion. Walked slowly to the medical bay, where was recovering. He looked at her with eyes full of centuries of guilt. "I helped destroy your people," he said quietly. "I believed the lies. I signed the orders. I carry that weight every day of my life." Looked at him. This old alien who had helped murder her family, her friends, her entire species. She could hate him. She could kill him. She would be justified. But she remembered the little girl on the colony ship. The mother's tearful gratitude. Ho's hand holding hers in the asteroid field. Hate was easy. Kindness took courage. "The past cannot be changed," she said finally, "but the future can be. What will you do now?" Bowed his head. "I will tell the truth. I will make sure the galaxy knows what really happened. They will be remembered as heroes, not monsters. It is not enough. Nothing will ever be enough. But it is what I can do." Nodded slowly. "Then do it. And maybe someday when I am gone, another will be born, and they will grow up in a galaxy that remembers the truth." Looked at her with something like respect. "You could have demanded my death. You could have asked for revenge." "I could have, But I have spent 300 years full of anger and pain. I am tired of carrying that weight. I choose to let it go." She looked at Ho, who stood quietly in the doorway. "A human taught me that," she added. As the days passed, the galaxy changed. Evidence was by scientists from a dozen species. The history books were rewritten. They were officially declared innocent, victims of lies and fear. It could not bring back the dead. It could not undo centuries of suffering, but it meant that was no longer hunted, no longer hated, no longer alone. She officially joined the crew of the GSS Horizon. Captain gave her a rank and a uniform. The crew who had once feared her now called her friend. Children on space stations ran up to her and asked for stories about her adventures. One evening she stood on the observation deck, watching the stars drift past. Ho found her there, as he often did. "What are you thinking about?" he asked. "My mother," said softly. "She hid me in a cave when they came to destroy us. I never got to say goodbye. I never got to thank her for giving me a chance to live." Ho stood beside her, saying nothing. Sometimes silence was the kindest gift. "She would have liked you," said. "She always believed that kindness was stronger than fear, that if we just kept helping people, eventually they would see we were not monsters." "She sounds wise." "She was. I wish you could have met her." Ho smiled gently. "In a way I feel like I have, through you." Turned to face him. This small, fragile human who had changed her entire existence with one simple act of kindness. "Why did you save me that first day?" she asked. "On Nexus 7, everyone told you I was dangerous. Everyone told you to run, but you walked toward me instead." Ho thought about it for a moment. "Because fear is easy," he said. "Kindness takes courage, and humans are stubborn like that." Laughed. It was a real laugh, full and warm and alive, a sound she had not made in centuries. "Yes," she agreed, "you certainly are." She looked back at the stars. Somewhere out there, her people had died believing they were alone, believing no one would ever understand, believing the galaxy would hate them forever. But they were wrong. It took 300 years, but the truth finally came out. And it came out because one human refused to be afraid. One human chose kindness over fear. Was no longer the last of her kind waiting to die. She was the first of a new beginning, a bridge between old hatred and new hope. And she had found something she never expected to find again. A family, a home, a future.